All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle one of the hottest topics in AI right now, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as you'll always hear it, RAG. But here's the twist. Instead of just another lecture, we're going to frame this as a tech interview. This is how you'd explain it to absolutely nail the interview and land the job. Ready? Let's go.
Okay, deep breath. The interviewer leans in. First question. It's the big one, the foundational one. So, what exactly is retrieval-augmented generation? Here's how you break it down. You start with a really simple, powerful analogy. You say, okay, think of a normal large language model, an LLM, as this brilliant student. The student has studied thousands of books for a huge exam and has an almost photographic memory. But, and this is the absolute key, here's the catch. During that exam, the student can only use what's already in their head. Their knowledge is completely frozen in time, right at the moment they finish studying. They can't look up a single new fact. And that, you'd say, is where RAG comes in. RAG is like giving that brilliant student an open book for the exam. But it's not just any book. It's a book that's constantly updated with the latest, most relevant fact-checked information. Now they can look things up before they give an answer. So what RAG really does is it completely changes the model's process. Instead of just, guessing from old memory, the LLM first does a quick, targeted search on these external, up-to-date data sources. It then takes that fresh context to build a way more accurate, a way more grounded response. The takeaway is simple. It searches first, then it answers. Now, the interviewer is probably going to follow up with something like, okay, so what specific problems does this solve? And this is where you show the real value of RAG. It hits an LLM's biggest blind spots head on. Without it, a model can just hallucinate, basically make stuff up. Plus, it has zero knowledge of your company's private data, which makes it pretty useless for most internal business tasks. So in short, RAG is the bridge. It connects the incredible reasoning power of the LLM to data that is fresh, that is private, and that is reliable. And that doesn't just make the model smarter, it makes it fundamentally safer and way more useful for any real-world application. And there it is, the classic follow-up. You are almost guaranteed to get this question in any serious conversation about RAG. It's a super important distinction, so let's get our answer straight. First, you have to define the alternative. So what is fine-tuning? Well, it's the process of actually retraining the core model. Going back to our student analogy, it's like sending that student back to school to memorize a whole new set of textbooks. That new information becomes a permanent part of their internal memory. And when you put them side by side like this, the trade-offs become really, really clear. RAG is all about accessing external knowledge that's easy to update. It's fast, it's cheap. Fine-tuning, on the other hand, is about changing the model's deep internal behavior. That's a much slower, much more expensive process. So the choice really comes down to this. Do you need to teach it what to know or change how it thinks? And this really just boils it all down, doesn't it? Fine-tuning is like performing surgery on the model's brain. RAG is like giving that brain a library card. One changes its core identity, the other just expands its access to the world's information. Okay, the interviewer is nodding along, they're impressed. Now they want to see if you can apply this. They're moving from theory to practice. So when do you actually pull the trigger on RAG? The answer really comes down to a few key needs. You choose RAG when your information is dynamic, when it needs to be super current, think news or stock prices. You use it when you have to ground the AI in your own company's private data. And, this is a big one, you use it when you need traceability, the ability to point to exactly where an answer came from. A customer support bot using the latest product manual is just a perfect example of this. And if you want a dead simple, powerful rule to remember, this is it. If your problem is about knowledge, getting the right facts to the model, you use RAG. If your problem is about behavior, changing the model's tone, its style, or the format of its answers, then you should be looking at fine-tuning. Simple as that. Excellent. This is the final round. The interviewer wants to make sure you get the practical side of things. They're just probing for that deeper technical understanding of how flexible this whole approach really is. And the beautiful answer is, a RAG system can use almost anything you can imagine. It's incredibly versatile. We're talking PDFs, websites, internal wikis, SQL databases, even your emails or Notion pages. The general rule is, if it's got text, you can probably plug it into a RAG pipeline. So how does all this work under the hood? Well, first, the system takes all your documents and breaks them into smaller, manageable chunks. Next, and this is the magic step, it converts these chunks into numbers, into what we call embeddings. You can think of this like giving every piece of information a specific coordinate on a giant map. This lets a special kind of database, a vector database, instantly find the most relevant chunks for any question you ask. And finally, those best matching chunks get handed over to the LLM, giving it the exact context it needs to create that perfect, grounded answer. And just like that, you've aced the interview. You've explained the what, the why, and the how. You've clearly distinguished it from fine-tuning, and you've laid out all its practical uses. So the final question isn't for the interviewer anymore, it's for you. Now that you have this powerful tool in your toolkit, what amazing problems are you going to solve? What will you build?